Hey guys, it's ENOS-GAMING. Today's video is going to be about Lupin the Third. Sorry if you guys hear noise in the background. We are camping right now, and I'm filming this video inside of my dad's truck. Yeah, it's very windy right now, and if I filmed inside of our tent, it would be a lot worse. Before you guys ask, no, we do not have a camping trailer. We used to, but we gave it away to our friend. Well, he's no longer a friend now, but he was a friend. Anyway, so today's video is going to be about Lupin. Quick little fact, the reason you see a picture of Clorets, I don't know how you actually pronounce it. Oh wow, that actually says part 5, I didn't even notice that. They made a deal with TMS Studio where they can sponsor Lupin the Third. So they have gum with Lupin. I don't know if it's like a shape of his head or like his whole body or his Walther P38 or like Jigen's hat or whatever, but I know they just made a deal to make Lupin gum. Anyway, this is what the part 6 version looks like. Anyway, so today I'm just going to be talking about Lupin. Hope you guys enjoy this video. If you do not, I'll still make videos like this because I can. Anyway, so Lupin the Third came out. Technically, the original Lupin the Third came out in 1969. There was a full pilot like made for Lupin. To be honest, I don't know if it ever aired on TV. I've seen it, did not understand a word they were saying. They didn't have an English version, and the subtitles weren't even in English. They were, what the heck was that? Whereas it was not even in English. They were in like Spanish or something. I don't know. I couldn't understand what it was saying. Anyway, so it was okay for the most part. It was mainly just an introduction or whatever the heck you call it, like to like who each character was. So obviously it starts off with Lupin being Lupin, or showing who Lupin is. And then it goes straight to like saying who Jigen is, who Fujiko is, who Goemon is, and who Zenigata is. Anyway, the first pilot, or the only pilot, starts off with Zenigata in his office. He gets a phone call. He's laughing because the guy's making no sense. When Zenigata goes, "Who is this?" He says, "Lupin the Third." And Zenigata is like, "Why does that sound familiar?" So he picks up this card of criminals that he was assigned to capture, and Lupin the Third was on the card. So he goes, "Huh." So he sits there, but he's trying to figure out where the caller came from. The police department tracked it from right across the street. They went across the street, and Lupin was in a was at a payphone. Calling them. So they ran across the street. They opened it. Lupin wasn't there. Zenigata got all upset. He found a card that said, "Keep up the good work," signed Lupin the Third, which is actually one of the things that made Lupin famous. Was he would leave cards behind after he would steal something, and before he would steal, he would send a card out saying, "I will make an appearance at this time to steal whatever he wants," and on the bottom it would say, "Signed Lupin the Third." Like in the movie Lupin the Third, the first, there was a security guard that came into this museum and said, "Sarah, we just got a notice from a crime to be committed by Lupin the Third." They took it, and it said, "I will make an appearance to obtain the Bresson diary, Lupin the Third." And then Lupin, sure enough, came to take it, and it turns out the security guard that had the note was Lupin the whole time, in disguise. Anyway, so yeah, so when Zenigata gets pissed off and throws the card down, the whole entire thing blows up. And Zenigata somehow survived. I don't know if the other cops survived, because like once the explosion happened, you don't see the other cops. So Zenigata gets up and sees the phone is still working. He listens and he just hears the creepiest laugh ever. So then he realized Lupin himself was never in the payphone booth thing. I don't know. It was like you watch like England, how they have the payphone, but they actually have to open the door to go inside. It was like that, except it was in France. Anyway, so he's hearing laughing, and it turns out to be Lupin laughing. He's sitting there drinking a thing of wine, laughing, hangs up, keeps laughing, and stop turning dark. So he keeps laughing, and then all of a sudden, when he's gonna take a sip of his wine, you just hear a gunshot and the whole wine bottle breaks. He looks up and Jigen's in there and smiles and spins his gun around, and then it freezes, and then it comes up Daisuke Jigen, and then Lupin starts talking about Jigen, how he's his partner in crime. Everywhere Lupin goes, Jigen will be close behind. And then it goes, they don't really show Fujiko in this. They just like show little glimpses of her and like little videos of her. And then he's like, Fujiko Mine. And then I don't remember exactly what he said, but he was just throwing facts out about her. And then it goes, Goemon Ishikawa, originally an assassin sent out to kill me. I've been running from him ever since then. And then it goes, Inspector Koichi Zenigata. And then he's like, he's been assigned to follow me everywhere I go and capture me. But for however long I've been a thief, he has never once been able to capture me. Capture me, not catcher me. Anyway, so yeah, and then all of a sudden, while Lupin and Jigen are in their little house thing, whatever you call it, I honestly don't remember if Fujiko actually came in or not. I don't think she did. Anyway, they're all just hanging out, Jigen and Lupin, and then all of a sudden they look out the window, the cops are there, Zenigata's there. So the cop runs in there, and then Goemon shows him and says, that cop won't be able to catch him, but don't worry, Inspector Zenigata, I will kill him. And Zenigata's like, what? So then he goes inside there, sees Lupin, kills Lupin, and he goes, I can't believe I've killed a fake. So he puts his sword back in its holster, or whatever the heck you call it, turns around, and then it turns out it was a Lupin kidnapped the cop, put on a disguise to make him look like Lupin, so really Goemon killed the cop. And then he goes, I vow one day I will kill you, Lupin the Third. Anyway. And then part 1 came out in 1971. So 2 years later, which I don't know why it was 2 years. I don't see why it couldn't come out in 1970. Anyway, and then the anime itself was actually born in 1971. I'm not really going to spoil anything from the anime because the pilot doesn't really have anything to it, really, to be honest. It didn't really do anything for the series other than just say who the characters were. But part 1 is very hated by Lupin the Third fans. And part 1 only had 1 season, which I don't know why anime goes like part 1, part 2, part 3, and all that. I barely started watching anime through the pandemic, and to be honest, I'm still starting to figure out everything about anime. Yeah, Lupin the Third was the first anime I ever got into, and to this day it's my favorite. But I won't spoil anything from part 1, but I will say that although part 1 was very hated, I actually really enjoy it. I haven't finished part 1. I finished part 4 and 5, haven't finished part 1, haven't finished part 2, part 3, or part 6. I only saw 2 episodes of part 6 because it's airing on Toonami right now. But I was only able to watch half of episode 1, and then I wasn't able to watch. Oh, why is it zooming in? Hey, I didn't even know I could zoom in. Anyway, what was I saying? Right, I only saw half of episode 1 in Toonami. I saw all of episode 5 on Toonami, but again, I didn't really understand anything that was going on because again, I watched half an episode of the first episode, and then I watched a whole episode that didn't really make me know anything because again, it was episode 5, not episode 2 or 3 or 4 and all that. But oh wow, that is really loud. I'm sorry if you guys can hear that. Yeah, I had nowhere else to film today. Anyway, so what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, Crunchyroll keeps saying that they're gonna release part 6 soon, but every time I go on my Crunchyroll app to check it, it's never there. I don't know if I just need to update my Crunchyroll or if they just haven't released it. So every time I look up when is Lupin the Third Part 6 coming to Crunchyroll, it keeps saying that it's there, but it's not. So I don't know what the deal is with Crunchyroll. Crunchyroll, if any of you are developers or whatever end up seeing this video, please release it. I have no other way of watching it. I could get Funimation, but again, if you don't pay for Funimation, it only lets you watch part 4, but in English. And I have no problem watching the English dub. It's just part 4, the English dub changed the soundtrack, and I didn't like that. When you watch the original Japanese version, the soundtrack is the original soundtrack by You and Explosion Band, and then the English version wasn't by You and the song wasn't from You and Explosion Band, it was by some other jazz band. I didn't like that. I like the original You and Explosion Band version, the one that goes bum ba dum bum bum ba bum ba bum 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 bum. That one, not dun, 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 and some pop singer later on in season 2 going, "Tell me something I want to know." Yeah, I don't like that. Anyway, so let's hope that part 6 gets on there soon. Everyone's hating part 6, and the few little clips and glimpses I've seen, I don't see why. I think is really interesting, especially that season 2 has Lupin actually going after his mother when for years he thought she was dead, but turns out she's alive. And again, I'm just saying this because I saw the trailer to season 2 of part 6. Anyway, um, part 2 came out in 1977. Everyone loved part 2, mainly because like it wasn't. I don't know why, to be honest. Like they said, part 1 was so hated because it followed too much with the manga, and they didn't want it to follow too much with the manga. The fans. So they ended up changing it halfway to make it more, like, I want to say realistic, just more goofy and all that. But everyone's like, no, we hate it. And then part 2 came out, and it was just as goofy as part 1 was halfway through. And then I'm like, I don't see a difference really between this version of Lupin and the other version of Lupin. They're both the same, other than Lupin doesn't like to kill this time. Jigen's exactly the same, never misses. Kind of serious, but not that serious. And Goemon's always serious. Fujiko was exactly the same. She'd be like, "Oh, I love you, Lupin, but let me steal this and betray you the next day." Stop turning dark. And then part 3 came out, and I do see why people hated it, because they kind of tried to copy Scooby-Doo there. Because Scooby-Doo came out later on, and it was like, everyone's like, "Oh, Scooby-Doo is doing very well." And then they're like, "Let's copy Scooby-Doo." And Lupin third part 3 came out in 1984. And then they did have a show that they were developing called Lupin the Eighth, which was going to be about his great 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 grandson. But the show got canceled because it turns out they were making it without the original manga creator knowing, so he copyrighted them. And then they're like, well, let's just make part 3 then. So they did. Part 3, like I said, was hated. Then in 2015, 30 years later, because it aired from 1984 to 1985, so 30 years later they made part 4. Sorry guys, I'm getting confused here. Part 4. Part 4 went down to be the greatest series out of the Lupin the Third anime. And then it ended. I don't remember what year it ended. If it ended in 2015 or 2016, but then 2018 rolled around, and they made part 3. Part 5. Part 5 honestly is my favorite. This is how Lupin looked with his blue jacket there. He looked like this in part 4 too. He had the blue jacket, black shirt, gray pants, and brown shoes. Except the only difference is in part 4 he had a red jacket. A red tie. Sorry, and in this version he has a pink tie. I don't know if you can really tell, but that is pink. And then they made a movie called Lupin the Third, the First, this is how he looked. He's got the red jacket, black shirt, yellow tie. This is the poster and the DVD cover of it too. I did do a movie review on Lupin the Third, the First, and go watch that. Please, or don't. I can't force you guys to do anything. But I'm gonna have to end this video soon. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed. Oh wait, no. Another interesting fact. This is how he looks in part 6. He also looked exactly the same in part 1, except he had a black shirt, not a purple shirt, and he also had the yellow tie. Each series goes by the colored jacket he wore. So part 1 was the green jacket series. Part 2 was red jacket series because he looked like this, except he had a blue shirt and a pink tie. And so part 1 was green jacket series. Part 2 was the red jacket series. Part 3 was the pink jacket series because he wore a pink jacket. Part 4 was the blue jacket series. Part 5, I'm like zoning out at the same time, guys. I'm so sorry. Part 5 was the blue jacket series part 2, and then part 6 is green jacket series part 2. No one really knows if there's going to be a Lupin the Third part 7 because we didn't even know we were getting a Lupin the Third part 6, to be honest. After Lupin the Third part 5 ended, there was nothing. Like, we didn't get nothing. 2019 rolled around, nothing. 2020 rolled around, nothing. 2021 rolled around, nothing. 2022 rolled around. No, I take that back. 2021 rolled around, nothing. And then all of a sudden, they ended up announcing we are getting a secret Lupin the Third project that that they didn't want to say anything about. So we didn't know if that was a movie, a series, another manga, no, another show, another movie, another manga, or a video game, or a book, or a merchandise. We didn't know what it was. They just said it was some kind of project. So then they released the 50th anniversary, which we're thinking, oh, okay, a movie. So I looked up the trailer for it. I'm like, this isn't a movie. This is part 6. And part 6 is hated. I don't know why. Um, I understand why part 3 is hated, but I honestly don't hate any of the Lupin the Third series. The only movie I didn't like out of Lupin the Third was the 2014 live action movie. I didn't like it, to be honest. I don't really think any of the characters played their parts well. The guy who played Jigen didn't even look like Jigen. I mean, he did, but he didn't really act like Jigen. He acted different. Like, in my opinion, he didn't act like Jigen at all. And Fujiko, she was alright. The actress of Fujiko did play an okay. Fujiko wasn't like the greatest, but she did really good, I thought. The actress of Zenigata I did not like. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoy this video. Please like it, share it if you want, or don't. I'm not going to force you guys. Anyway, have a great day, and have a good day. Catch you in the next video.